Ballabha Girivanadari Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banatari Jayoratha Madhava Kunda Vihari Gopijana Ballabha Girivanadari Yashodanandana Tatjana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banatari Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pachaya Resharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Vasatya Desatarine. Welche Sprache sprechen wir? Which language do we speak? English, German? Who speaks English? Who does not understand English? So everybody understands English. Okay. So we take only take the English books. And this is the Nectar of Instruction, written by Srila Rupa Goswami. And in order to invoke the mercy of the 6 Goswamis, we chant one verse from the preface on page 7 of the preface. Rupa Raghunatha Pade Haibe Akuti Gabihama Bujaba Se Yugala Priti. When I am eager to understand the literature given by the Goswamis, then I shall be able to understand the transcendental loving affairs of Radha and Krishna. So, this Nectar of Instruction is written by Srila Rupa Goswami. Some of you have already heard about Srila Rupa Goswami. Yeah? Which other book was compiled by Srila Rupa Goswami? Nectar of Devotion, yes. So we have 2 books that we regularly study. That is the Nectar of Devotion, and then it's the Nectar of Instruction. Both are written by Srila Rupa Goswami. Now, is this the first class on the Nectar of Instruction, or first? So you have not read the preface yet. Okay, we should probably read the preface together. You have the book? Somebody could, who is a good English reader? Yes, okay. Read the preface, yes. The Krishna Consciousness Movement, it's only 1-2 pages, not much.
Preface from the Nectar of Devotion. The Krishna Consciousness Movement is conducted under the supervision of Srila Rupa Goswami. The Gaudiya Vaishnavas, or the Bengali Vaishnavas, are mostly followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of whom the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan are direct disciples. Therefore, Srila Narottama Das Thakur has sung Rupa Raghunatha Padeha Ibe Akuti Kabe Hama Pujava Se Yugala Pirti. When I am eager to understand the literature given by the Goswamis, then I shall be able to understand the transcendental loving affairs of Radha and Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in order to bestow upon the human society the benediction of signs of Krishna. The most excited of all are the activities of Krishna, are the pastimes of conjugal love with the gopis. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in the mood of Srimati Radharani, the best of all the gopis. Therefore, to understand the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and to follow his footsteps, one must very sincerely follow the footsteps of 6 Goswamis, Sri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta, Raghunatha, Sri Jiva, Gopala Bhatta, and Dasa Raghunatha. Sri Rupa Goswami was the leader of all Goswamis, and to guide the activities, he gave the nectar of instruction to follow. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left behind him the 8 verses known as Shikshta Ashtaka, Rupa Goswami gave the Upadesha Smrita so that we may become pure Vaishnavas. In all spiritual affairs, one's first duty is to control the mind and senses. Unless one controls his mind and senses, one cannot make any advancement in spiritual life. Everyone within this material world is engrossed in modes of passion and ignorance. One must promote himself to the platform of goodness, Sattva Guna, by following the instructions of Rupa Goswami, and then everything concerning how to make further progress is revealed. Advancement in Krishna consciousness depends upon attitude of the follower. A follower of Krishna consciousness movement should become perfect Goswami. Vaishnavas are generally called Goswamis. In Vrindavan, this is the title by which the director of the temple is known. One who wants to become a perfect devotee of Krishna must become a Goswami. Go means the senses, and Swami means the master. Unless one controls his senses and mind, one cannot become a Goswami. To achieve the highest success in the life by becoming a Goswami and then a pure devotee of the Lord, one must follow the instructions of the Upadesha Smrita, which has been given by Srila Rupa Goswami. Sri Rupa Goswami has given many books such as Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Vivada Madhava, Lalita Madhava, but the Upadesha Amrita constitutes the first instructions for neophyte devotees. One should follow these instructions strictly, then it will be easier to make one's life successful. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you very much. So Srila Prabhupada explained about the importance of the 6 Goswamis. The 6 Goswamis are the immediate followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in our disciplic succession. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave 3 main instructions to the 6 Goswamis. First instructions was to excavate the lost places, pastime places of Sri Krishna in Vrindavan. Second instruction was to build temples for Krishna worship in Vrindavan. And third instruction was to go through all the revealed scriptures and find proof of the validity of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy. You could all follow what I'm saying? You understand English well. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as Srila Prabhupada explained here, only left 8 verses written. We chant Strinat api sunichinata rore vasahishnuna amanina manadena kirtani sadahari every morning. That is one of the verses of the Sri Shikshastaka. Shiksha means instruction, and Astaka means a poem of 8 verses. Shikshastaka, a poem of 8 verses, compiled by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. These are his instructions that he personally wrote, but he instructed the 6 Goswamis profusely and very completely in the science of Krishna consciousness, especially Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. Over months, he daily instructed them and what the philosophy of Krishna consciousness is, and he told them to please find proof in all the revealed scriptures of the validity of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions, of course, were not invented by himself, but they are also from the Vedic background, from the background of the Vedas, but all the detailed work, the philosophical work he entrusted to the 6 Goswamis. So today we read Sri Upadeshamrita text 1. I read the verse line by line. Are you able to repeat it? Maybe some of you who are able. Can I first read first line? Vacho vegang manasa krodha vegang. Jiva vegam udarupashta vegam. Itan viganyo vishaheta dira. Sarvam apimam pritiving sashishyat. Again, vacho vegang manasa krodha vegang. Jiva vegam udarupasta vegam. Itan viganyo vishaheta dira. Sarvam apimam pritiving sashishyat. Vacho vegang manasa krodha vegang. Jiva vegang udarupashta vegam. Itan viganyo vishaheta dira. Sarvam apimam pritivim sashishyat. Okay, now I read word by word. Vachaha, of speech. Vegam, urge. Manasa, of the mind. Krodha, of anger. Vegam, urge. Jiva, of the tongue. Vegam, urge. Udara upashta, of the belly and genitals. Vegam, urge. Etan, these. Vegan, urges. Yaha, whoever. Vishaheta, can tolerate. Diraha, sober. Sarvam, all. Api, certainly. Imam, this. Pritivim, world. Saha, that personality. Shishyat, can make disciples. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals, is qualified to make disciples all over the world. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 6:1-9-10, Parikshit Maharaj placed a number of intelligent questions before Shukadev Goswami. One of these questions was, why do people undergo atonement if they cannot control their senses? For instance, a thief may know perfectly well that he may be arrested for his stealing, and he may actually even see another thief arrested by the police, yet he continues to steal. Experience is gathered by hearing and seeing. One who is less intelligent gathers experience by seeing, and one who is more intelligent gathers experience by hearing. When an intelligent person hears from the law books and shastras or scriptures that stealing is not good and hears that a thief is punished when arrested, he refrains from theft. A less intelligent person may first have to be arrested and punished for stealing to learn to stop stealing. However, a rascal, a foolish man, may have the experience of both hearing and seeing, and may even be punished, but still he continues to steal. Even if such a person atones and is punished by the government, he will again commit theft as soon as he comes out of jail. If punishment in jail is considered atonement, what is the benefit of such atonement? And thus Parikshit Maharaja inquired, Drishta Shutabhyam Yat Papang Janan Apyat Manom Hitam Karoti Bhuyo Vivasha Prayaschitamato Katam Kvachin Nirvatate Bhatrat Kvachit Charati Tat Puna Prayaschitamato Partang Mangi Kunjara Sauchavat. Parikshit Maharaj compared atonement to an elephant's bathing. The elephant may take a very nice bath in the river, but as soon as it comes onto the bank, it throws dirt all over its body. What then is the value of its bathing? Similarly, many spiritual practitioners chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and at the same time commit many forbidden things, thinking that their chanting will counteract their offenses. Of the 10 types of offenses one can commit while chanting the holy name of the Lord, this offense is called Namno Balat Yasya Papa Buddhi, committing sinful activities on the strength of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Similarly, certain Christians go to church to confess their sins, thinking that confessing their sins before a priest and performing some penance will relieve them from the results of their weekly sins. As soon as Saturday is over and Sunday comes, they again begin their sinful activities, expecting to be forgiven the next Saturday. This kind of prayaschita or atonement is condemned by Parikshit Maharaj, the most intelligent king of his time. Shukadeva Goswami, equally intelligent, is befitting the spiritual master, is as befitting the spiritual master of Maharaj Parikshit, answered the king and confirmed that his statement concerning atonement was correct. A sinful activity cannot be counteracted by a pious activity. Thus, real prayaschita, atonement, is the awakening of our dormant Krishna consciousness. So these are the first 2 paragraphs. I'm going to start speaking now, otherwise we won't remember all the nice things that Prabhupada is explaining, all the valuable instructions. Srila Prabhupada here speaks about 3 types of people. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, actually the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada, said there are 3 types of intelligence. First class intelligence, second class intelligence, and third class intelligence or no intelligence. First class intelligence is also explained by Srila Prabhupada here, is you hear once and you are able to follow. For example, if you take driver's license, if you follow all the instructions of the teacher and never forget anything, then that is first class intelligence, and you will not have an accident on the road. So second class intelligence means that somebody sees a person experiencing suffering because of not acting correctly, violating the laws of the government or the road laws, for example, traffic laws. And then he has an accident, he he suffers. And then because he sees others suffering, committing mistakes, therefore he himself will refrain from suffering. For example, driver's lesson, you have your friend who also took the same lessons, and he didn't follow the traffic laws. He crossed the road on the red light, many other mistakes you can do, because he thought there was nobody coming. It's the middle of the night. He had an accident. You see, better to stop at every red light. That's second-class intelligence. Your friend who crossed the road with red light, he didn't have first-class intelligence. He didn't follow the teacher's instructions. So third-class intelligence means that even when you hear something is wrong and you see somebody else acting against the law, not following the instructions, and therefore suffering, still you commit mistakes and you don't follow the instructions. Now, this is a first-class intelligence, second-class intelligence, and no intelligence. So in German there's a saying, wer nicht hören will, muss fühlen. He who doesn't want to listen, he has to feel. So this, of course, also in the same way refers to the Vedic instructions. These examples are there so we can learn how to follow the Vedic instructions. And in order to follow the Vedic instructions, we first have to have faith in the Vedic instructions. First of all, there must be faith. This is also said by Srila Rupa Goswami, Adau Shraddha, Tata Santu Sadhu Sangha Bhajana Kriya, in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. First, there must be faith. Like a teacher in the driver's school may teach you, well, don't cross the road when it's red light. You may think, what's the nonsense instruction? I cross the road whenever I want, when I see there are no cars. Then I cross the road. Although the teacher may say you stop at the red light, you think, this is all nonsense. I stop whenever I see there are no cars. So in the same way, in Krishna consciousness, that we have many instructions. We have instructions in the Bhagavad Gita, we have the instructions of our spiritual master, we have all the Vedic scriptures are full of instructions. But if in the beginning we don't have faith in those scriptures, then why should we follow any instructions? So therefore, Rupa Goswami says, Adau Shraddha, in the beginning there must be faith. Also, Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita that one who has no faith, for him there will not be happiness in this life and in the next life. There are some people who just do not believe what's in Scripture, and they are listed by Krishna also in Bhagavad Gita 7:15. That is the mudha, or the foolish ass. Then it is the Naradama, it's called lowest of human beings. They are cultivated humans, but who do not believe in any spiritual instructions. Then it's Mayaya Parita Jnana, or very, very advanced scientists and philosophers, but whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, by the material energy. And then it's Asuram Bhavam Ashrita, those who openly partake of the demonic nature of demons, of the atheistic nature of demons. So far kinds of people, they will never take shelter in Krishna. Why? Because they do not believe that if I surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this will be of any good for me or my family or my nation or nature. They will think this is all useless. And we do have a larger part of human society that just do not believe in any scripture. It could be true, could not be true. Other things are more interesting. Namely, what is more interesting? Mostly it's sense gratification, what they find interesting. No? So in this verse, Srila Rupa Goswami has something interesting to say about how to deal with sense gratification. Rupa Goswami speaks of 6 what he calls urges. In Sanskrit it's called Vega. Vega means urge. Auf Deutsch Drang, urge. A strong push by material nature that forces you to do something. And here 6 urges are mentioned. The urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genital. So 6 urges are there. So somebody who has no interest in Krishna consciousness, he will see no reason why to control these urges. He will want to speak a lot, whatever he likes to do. A lot of it is speculation. He will not see a reason to control his anger. He becomes angry whenever he feels offended or his sense gratification is impaired. And the urge of the tongue, he will eat whatever he likes, whatever it tastes good. And the belly and genitals. So these urges are there, and they are there in the human society as well as also in the animal society. These urges are a type of classification of the desire for sense gratification. So in Krishna consciousness, we have many instructions on how important it is to control one's senses. See, this Upadishamrita was written by Srila Rupa Goswami in the 16th century. So that is pretty late. The Vedic instructions are much older. I brought today the Bhagavad Gita as it is, and it definitely is much older than the Nectar of Instruction or Upadishamrita. The Bhagavad Gita is part of the Mahabharata, and the Mahabharata was compiled by Srila Vyasadeva about 5,000 years ago, 3,000 before our time. And I wanted to present to you some verses in Bhagavad Gita that also speak about sense gratification and on the topic of how to deal with one's senses. I start with the 3rd chapter, 333, if you find it in the German Gita, 333. So there we have, even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature. For everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the 3 modes. What can repression accomplish? So here we have a man of knowledge. Even those who are trying to become God conscious, self-realized persons, they will act according to their own nature. And according to our own nature, we have certain urges. They differ from person to person. Persons have different types of urges. If you would be under the mode of goodness, Brahminical type, you would probably want to speak a lot. The urge to speak may be very strong. If you are Kshatriya, or you belong to the warrior class, Varna, you may become angry easily. You may want to become angry easily. And if you are a Vaishya is the mixed modes of passion and ignorance, you will want to enjoy life and make sure everybody also enjoys life. You will want to sell goods and promise people if you take these goods, then you'll enjoy life. And you will, the gain from your business will be very important, so you can enjoy yourself. That's the Vaishya mentality. And if one is from the Sutra Varna, which in this age about 90% of the people are, he will not think very much about how to enjoy. He will just earn money to enjoy life as much as he wants. He will not even think very much. And the type of enjoyment also is different. You can see people who are more animalistic, others are more on the bodily platform. They will want to enjoy the gross material senses, eating, sleeping, mating and defending. Then there are other people who are more on the mental platform. They will enjoy philosophy, speaking philosophy, studying, and so on, cultural enjoyment, seeing, listening to classic music, and seeing beautiful paintings, so on. And so according to the nature one has acquired, certain urges will be stronger than others. But Rupa Goswami explains the 6 urges that are there, these urges that we have just listed, and these urges are also there in the animal kingdom. So Krishna says here, Bhagavad Gita 3:33, even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature. For everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the 3 modes. What can repression accomplish? Then in 34 he continues, there are principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to the senses and their objects. 2 things. Either we are attached to a certain type of enjoyment, or we feel aversion, like certain types of food. Everybody has his own preferences of food, for example. One man's food is another man's poison. Some people prefer sweets, others prefer salty food. So, therefore, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 3:34, there are principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to the senses and their objects. These urges have to do with the senses and their objects. The senses that we have, the knowledge acquired, we have altogether we have 10 senses. Did anybody of you know that we have 10 senses? 10 senses? No? How many senses do you know? Just the number, don't. How many senses? 5. Okay. What you know is the half of the senses, and what you mean is the knowledge acquiring senses. So it's the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the taste, and touch. And the ear, the hearing. 5 senses. So these 5 senses, they want to enjoy the corresponding sense objects. You don't enjoy music with your nose. You enjoy music with your ear, right? So 5 knowledge acquiring senses. These are the senses with which we relate to the creation. Corresponding, there are 5 types of sense objects that these senses can perceive. Then we also have 5 working senses. 5 working senses. They are the voice, arms. Actually, people work with their arms a lot. Cutting wood, arms. Then it's the legs. With the legs you walk. And then it's 2 working senses that some people do not have, which are the genital and the anus. So 3 working senses above the belt and 2 working senses below the belt. So these are the 5 working senses. So Krishna consciousness means Rishikesha Rishikena Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. That if you engage all these senses in the service of the Lord, that is called bhakti or devotional service. All these 10 senses. You work for Krishna. Yat karoshi, yat ashnasi, yat yosila. You chant Krishna's names with your voice. Satatam kirtayantam mam yatantascha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upashate. Always chanting my glories. Speaking about Krishna with great satisfaction with other devotees. Endeavoring very eagerly. Such devotees, they come to me. So that is using the voice. Kirtan is definitely using the voice in Krishna's service. Or also speaking about Krishna with other devotees, that is using the voice in Krishna's service. Ear, when we have Shravanam, hearing, engage the ears. Then we have Kirtanam, speaking. Then we have Smaranam. Smaranam means remembering. Remembering happens where? In one of the 6 and 10 senses, or where does it happen? Remembering, which is it in one of the senses? The 10 senses, which we just listened, are the senses of the body. But above these senses, there is another 11. It's called the 11th sense, or sometimes the 6th sense. 6th sense. Anybody of you knows what is the 6th sense? Der sechste Sinn? The mind, yes. The mind is also sometimes called, sometimes not always, but sometimes called one of the senses, because all the sense impressions, they end up in the mind, and they're stored in the mind and remembered in the mind. Just like also Krishna Smaranam happens in the mind. So one can engage the mind in Krishna Smaranam, or remembering Krishna. So, therefore, the purpose of Krishna consciousness is actually to transfer the physical, sensual activities to spiritual activities. And the material, mental activities, change them into spiritual, mental activities by Krishna Smaranam, remembering Krishna. So, and here in this in Bhagavad Gita, I'm continuing. Arjuna has a very important question to Sri Krishna. That is 336 now. 336. Arjuna said, O descendant of Vrishni, by what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force? How does it happen that a person with good intentions, say even on the spiritual path, all of a sudden feels a strong urge, sensual urge, and it is impossible for him to control it? This happens even if one is a devotee. What to speak if one is not a devotee? Then it becomes more difficult to tolerate the urges. But for one who is not a devotee, when these urges come, most of the time he's just helpless. He's just helpless. He just has to do what the senses tell him. But when the urge is strong. Now, these urges, as we said, are there in the animal world as also in human society. And they're there for a purpose. The purpose is that animal society or human society continues. See, we won't be able to maintain the body if we feel no hunger. Hunger, a strong urge of the urge of hunger can be very strong. If a person is really hungry, he will look for food everywhere, and he will do anything to get food. He will steal, even climb on trees, anything. If he's hungry. You have seen in certain areas where there's hunger, what people do in order to satisfy their hunger. And that is good for the body, because the body doesn't eat and it will, after some time, will die. So hunger is good, the urge of the belly. Similarly, the urge of the genital is of some use. There's procreation. Mankind has to reproduce, otherwise the planet will be empty after some time. And what else? The urge of anger. Defense is necessary sometimes. So everything has its use, and a person some or other get along. But as I said, as long as we don't control these senses, these urges, and use them for a higher purpose of self-realization, we won't be different from the animals. So Arjuna, therefore Krishna explains, there are practices of regulating attachment and aversion pertaining to the senses and their objects. In every human society, you have regulations. You can't, for example, in downtown Passau, you just can't, even it won't look good if you eat in public. Of course, though some people do it, but it doesn't look good. Certain things you cannot do in public. You cannot pass urine in the mall, for example. The police, somebody will call the police, certain things you can't do. So in human society, there are certain regulations. And here, Arjuna's question in 336 is answered by Krishna in text 37, a very famous verse, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Kama Esha Krota Esha Rajaguna Samudbhava Mahashano Mahapapma Vidyinam Ihavairinam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. So Arjuna is asking, why do we sometimes have to act according to a strong urge, although we don't want it? Krishna explains it's lust. Lust only. Kama esha krodha esha. It is born, Krishna is very analytical, it is born from the mode of passion, and it later turns into wrath. Here we have anger. One of the urges, anger. The lust is not satisfied. It will become anger later. Out of frustration, people will become angry. And it is called, this lust is called the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. This lust is the reason why we are not with Krishna. This lust means self-centered wish for self-centered enjoyment. I consider myself to be the most important of the universe, and my senses, my body should be satisfied under all circumstances. This is called lust. This is why we are not with Krishna. Krishna consciousness means the opposite, that Krishna is always in the center. We will always want to see Krishna happy. Even the gopis want to see Krishna happy. That's the only reason why they dress beautifully, because they want to see Krishna happy. They're not dressing beautifully because they want to get Krishna's attention and for some want to enjoy themselves. They want to see Krishna happy, and that's why they dress beautifully. Mother Yashoda always has Krishna's happiness in mind. So then Krishna explains some more things about this lust. Different degrees in the animal. It is strongest amongst the plants. It is a little less strong amongst the animals. In the human beings, it's compared to a fire covered by smoke. So the light shines through, but the lust smoke is still there. Then Krishna explains in text 40, the senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of this lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him. So it's there everywhere, and it manifests through the 6 urges. And Srila Prabhupada, in his purport to this verse of Nectar of Instruction, he explains that in the Shastras, there are certain methods of how to curtail this lust and control the senses. One is called prayaschitta, that means if you've done something wrong, there is atonement. Like because if out of lust you have killed an animal to eat it. There is an atonement you can do. You go to a church, to a mandir, and in Christianity you confess. The priest will tell you to do certain things. In Vedic society also you chant certain mantras. You could even say, every morning we do this Tulsi Puja. It says that when you circumambulate Tulsi, even if you've committed murder, it will be atoned. Even if you've committed if you have become a killer of a Brahmana, by circumambulating Tulasi, it will be atoned. But this is not why we circumambulate Tulasi. It is an offense to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna or worshipping Tulasi or any of the doing any of the process that we do as an ordinary religious activity prescribed in the Vedic scriptures. But some people, they will circumambulate Tulasi, and then they'll say, okay, now it's atoned, now I'm free from sin. And Srila Prabhupada explains in his purport here that this type of mentality is the seventh offense in chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It's called Namno Balat Yasyahi Papa Buddhi, committing sinful activities on the strength of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. This is an attitude that devotees have to cultivate, to chant without committing offenses, especially this seventh offense is very is always there, very difficult to overcome. That since we are new devotees, we are on the beginning platform, we still have many sinful habits which are very difficult to control. So we think, okay, once in a while I engage in some activity which actually isn't good, but afterwards I chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and then I'll become free. Because it is said by just chanting the holy name of Krishna once, more sinful reactions will be extinguished than you can commit in one entire lifetime, even many lifetimes. So then somebody say, okay, then I do something, I cheat somebody, I steal something and whatever. Then later I chant the holy name, and then I become free from offenses. So everybody, each of us has their particular corner where they have their weaknesses, where they easily fall prey to the attraction of the sense objects. We control them, but we think, well, if we chant Hare Krishna, then doesn't matter. This mentality is very dangerous. It is very dangerous. Committing sinful activities on the strength of chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. If we remain in that attitude, we will not make any spiritual advancement in Krishna consciousness. Krishna, he also says here, he speaks about this in Bhagavad Gita too. That's how you can see that Srila Rupa Goswami wasn't saying anything new, but it's all from Shastra. 9:30. Anybody knows what is 9:30? Very famous word. Apichet sudaracharo bhajate ma mananya bhak sadureva samantavya samyuktatamo mataha. I read it to you. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 30. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. So here the question comes, Srila Prabhupada addresses this point in his purport. If you do something wrong, how do we deal with it? Can look at the ways different religions deal with it. In Christianity, in the monasteries in earlier times, if somebody would commit an offense like this, he would whip his back, with a whip. You know that? Really tough thing. Or even in Vedic culture, people perform very tough austerities in order to get free from their sins. Like this is the process of Astanga Yoga, the eightfold yoga system. They bathe in cold water, ice cold water. In summertime, they light 5 fires, sit in the middle of the 5 fires under the hot sun. And they bury themselves under the earth, under the soil. They perform terrible austerity. They stand on one leg. It's all called prayaschita, or atonement, in order to extinguish the sinful mentality that we all have. So the question also for us as devotees is, if we do something wrong, which we cannot avoid, being beginners, how do we deal with it? What do we do if we do something wrong? Krishna Kund, if you do something wrong, you watch a movie, how do you deal with it? And I'm not asking you, but... So, how do we deal with it? Krishna says, even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in determination. Okay, let me see. Okay, let me take my own example. See, I watch a film, a movie on TV, and where all the 4 regulative principles are broken. So it's called sinful activity. But then I say, okay, doesn't matter. Because see, I am a devotee of Krishna. I was initiated in our disciplic succession. Doesn't matter, I can do these things. Krishna says, even if one commits the most abominable action, if he's engaged in devotional service, he's to be considered saintly. I do these things, say when I come home, I turn on the TV, I watch my criminal movies, and then when I go to Chimhachalam to pray to Lord Nrsingadev, and I'll still be a saint. This is a very dangerous mentality. It's the 7th offense, committing sins on the strength of chanting the holy name or worshipping Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada gives in Bhagavad Gita next verse, 9:31, he gives a very interesting purport. That next verse is Shipram Bhavati Dharmatma Sasvachantim Nikachati Kauntaya Pratijanihi Nami Bhakta Pranashyati. That's 9:31, if you have the book. Krishna says, even if he commits the most sinful activity, if he's engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he's properly situated in his determination. Then he quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace, O son of Kunti, declared boldly that my devotee never perishes. See, even in 30, Krishna says he is considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. He has his determination, but because of some circumstantial weakness, he has made it unintentionally fallen prey to the urges, to one of the 6 urges that Rupa Goswami lists. But if he's determined and does his best as he can, then he quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace, O son of Kunti, declared boldly that my devotee never perishes. Purport. This should not be misunderstood, Srila Prabhupada writes. In the 7th chapter, the Lord says that one who is engaged in mischievous activities cannot become a devotee of the Lord. One who is not a devotee of the Lord has no good qualifications whatsoever. The question remains then, how can a person engaged in abominable activities, either by accident or by intention, be a pure devotee? This question may justly be raised. The miscreants, as stated in the 7th chapter, who never come to the devotional service of the Lord, have no good qualifications, as is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Generally, a devotee who is engaged in the 9 kinds of devotional activities is engaged in the process of cleansing all material contamination from the heart. He puts the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, and all sinful contaminations are naturally washed away. Continuous thinking of the Supreme Lord makes him pure by nature. According to the Vedas, there is a certain regulation that if one falls down from his exalted position, he has to undergo certain ritualistic processes to purify himself. But here there is no such condition, because the purifying process is already there in the heart of the devotee due to his remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead constantly. Therefore, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, should be continued without stoppage. This will protect a devotee from all accidental fall downs. He will thus remain perpetually free from all material contaminations. So I wanted to stop here. It seems that the arti has already started, so Lord Nishingadev. Of course, here we are in the best care of Lord Nishingadev. Lord Nishingadev, one of his favorite pastimes is to kill all the demons of lusty desires in the heart of his devotees. This is why devotees love to worship Lord Nishingadev. He is helping Sri Sri Radha Krishna. Actually, he's preparing our heart for the worship of Sri Sri Radha Krishna by making it free from lusty desires. Okay, Hare Krishna. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Do you, during the arti, you still ask question? How do you do? I don't know. You do kirtan. Okay, good. So do kirtan. Yeah. So you do please do kirtan. What? Wie bitte? What? Yeah, if okay. Alles klar. Gut. Hare Krishna.